Welcome to Texas. This week on Voices of Agriculture, we'll show you what cotton farmers are doing to get ready for the new growing season and how a different sort of gold rush is booming across the state. Those stories and more later on in the show, but first we pay tribute to a legend bigger than Texas itself. S.M. True Jr., a former TFB president, recently passed away while working on his farm. S.M. was a farmer, a peacemaker, and an agricultural pioneer. Gene Hall shows us the man behind the legend.
I came home from World War II in 1946, and I had to make a choice. I had an opportunity to go into commercial aviation, and there my GI Bill was in front of me. My dad was at retirement age, and he was needing to slow down, and he needed some help, so I had to sit down and make a decision as what I wanted to do, and I chose farming. After about 3 or 4 years, I wasn't making any progress farming. I almost gave it up, but my dad gave me some real good advice. He said, son, you got to remember, you're in the apprentice stage. You're learning, you're establishing yourself, and I promise you that if you'll stay with this, in the future you'll never regret it. And he was right, I didn't. It's more important today than ever before that farmers all over the state, I don't care if they're a cattleman, a cotton man, a sheep man, or a livestock man down in East Texas, we can't do it alone. It's more important today. We've got to go with a unified voice as best that we can.
When S.M. True passed away on May 15th as the result of an accident on his farm, many leaders in agriculture were left scrambling for superlatives. It was said of him that he was a giant in agriculture, a consensus builder, a leader, and a consummate gentleman. True led the Texas Farm Bureau for 11 years, from 1982 until 1993, and current Farm Bureau President Kenneth Diersky remembers.
A giant among agriculturalists. He's been involved for a number of years, and he was on the cotton board, which I'm also on. I followed him on the cotton board. Following him on the cotton board was a real experience because they expected me to live up to some of the things that he'd been doing. But he was, whatever it was, whether it's cotton or cattle or grain or wherever he was at, he was a giant in his industry.
I think SM had a deep-grained loyalty about him. He was loyalty to God, he was loyal to his country, he was loyal to his family. He was loyal to those who he believed in, farmers and ranchers and the Texas Farm Bureau, and everything that he did in his life showed that loyalty.
S.M. True was 88 years old. He grew up during the Great Depression, flew fighter planes off carriers in World War II, and endured the great 1950s drought early in his farming career.
S.M. True is here, the great head of the Farm Bureau.
As president of the Texas Farm Bureau, he helped create Ag Fund, one of the most influential agricultural PACs in the nation.
He had a sense of bringing people together, particularly in the boardroom, to where this organization will work together. And that coming together happened during his leadership and continues to this day under Kenneth Diersky's leadership.
He came along at the right time. We were having some turbulence in the 70s. What direction was agriculture going to go in the United States and in the world? When SM came along, those were brought all back to the center. And I think that was his legacy, is keeping everybody on the right road.
Agriculturalists, it's time for us to stand up. Because according to Yahoo Education, agriculture, animal science, and horticulture are useless degrees. But if that were true, then could you tell me, please, how is it possible for you to roll out of your silk sheets, brush your teeth with toothpaste made from cotton seeds, eat your Corn Pops breakfast cereal, and drink your 2% milk? What about the warm water you ran for your 20-minute shower or your chicken nugget lunch fried in Brazilian soybean oil? Did you know that 29,000 kids under the age of 5 died in Somalia because they were hungry? When was the last time you were dying to eat? Now, while you munch on that food for thought, let me give you a little more thought for food. Let's take it back as 1862. Lincoln signs the Morrill Act, and thus land-grant universities are born. Agriculture meets education, education meets science, science reaches the common man, and the rest is us, is we are the history. No longer is the cowboy just a man riding his horse off into the sunset, slinging 6 shooters in the wild, wild west. He's also the man bent over his workbench, dressed in his white lab coat, beaker in his hand, poring over solutions for growing wheat in drought-ridden lands. Geneticists, stand up. She's also the engineer, engineering wells and filtration systems to bring water to communities that are dying of thirst. Agricultural engineers, stand up. He's also the personal trainer, calculating calories, drafting up diets, and combating childhood obesity. Food scientists, nutritionists, stand up. She's also the quality control specialist, designing critical control points to control microbial growth rates in meats and vegetables so that your food is safe to eat. Meat scientists, microbiologists, stand up. He's the keeper of the stadium, ensuring that the fight in Texas Aggie turf remains green and lush. Agronomists, stand up. He is you, she is me, and together we are the educators, the researchers, the innovators, the businessmen, the humanists. We are the students, stand up. We are the next generation, stand up. We are the advocates, stand up. Farmers fight, stand up.
It's a grassroots voice in Austin and Washington for farmers and ranchers like me.
It's educational and scholarship opportunities for young people like me.
It's money-saving benefits for member families
like us.
What is Texas Farm Bureau? I am.
I am. I am.
2011 is a year that Texas cotton farmers are trying hard to forget. With seed now in the ground and rain falling from the sky, many are doing what they do best, hoping. Along with that hope, they have crop insurance. After last year's drought, many are now aware of how critical the safety net is. Without it, in fact, many Texas farming families would have thrown in the towel.
Clouds bringing a chance of rain are a welcome sight to cotton farmers on the high plains this time of year as they plant the 2012 crop. It's still dry in the Panhandle, but most farmers agree that the situation is better than last year. 2011 is a year most farmers are trying hard to forget. With record abandonment and disastrous losses, most farmers in the largest cotton-producing counties of Texas relied on crop insurance to repay operating notes and input expenses. Steve Johnson is a cotton, corn, and wheat farmer near Olton, and he thinks the rain clouds at the start of the season are a good omen. Like every other cotton farmer in West Texas and the Panhandle, he hopes they keep bringing rain.
Planting cotton now, and the outlook as far as the yield, we're still optimistic. The weather patterns have changed a little bit.
Though some farmers with irrigated fields fought back against the overwhelming heat and drought last year, most received abysmal yields, if any. Johnson watered his fields, but it did no good with high winds and rapid moisture loss.
Last year, what hurt us as much as anything is the 100 to 110 degree weather that we had, plus the 40-mile-an-hour wind.
His efforts produced a little cotton, but nowhere near the yields of an average year. Years like last one prove how critical crop insurance is in cotton country.
Removing a gauge wheel, seeing how much red sand's in it.
West of Abilene and Roscoe, Jimmy Joy agrees that crop insurance is a vital part of farming dryland cotton.
It's something that you need to get you through the lean years and things like that. I've been farming here about 16 years, and there's only been 2 years that we've actually had a total wipeout.
Jimmy and his son Tanner are optimistic about what the year could bring. They are planting almost 1,000 acres of cotton this year. Joy recently purchased a cotton stripper that sat idle last harvest season. He's anxious to use it this year and says he would always rather see a crop harvested than rely on insurance.
I'm always a farmer, and I'd rather make a crop. It's a whole lot more fun. I mean, you wouldn't be farming if it was just for the insurance check. You continue to farm like that, I mean, you essentially gets down to zero anyways.
Even though farmers saw a record low harvest last year, input costs like seed and fertilizer are more expensive. Johnson purchased 1 pallet of seed valued at about $17,000. That's only a fraction of the seed needed to cover all of his acres. For farmers like Johnson and Joy, insurance on a bad year means fuel in the tank and collateral for operating loans.
No lending institution is going to give you that line of credit without some type of guarantee. We have to have the crop insurance in place. That would be a requirement of that lending institution.
Along with lines of credit and operating expenses, income on a bad year also means survival for rural economies, according to Joy.
The whole economy pretty much depends on cotton, the different revenue that it generates, from your farm machinery dealers to your cotton gins to your chemical and pesticide dealers, and that's the major economy driving force in the area.
Crop insurance payouts across the nation are closing in on the $11 billion mark. According to the USDA, payments have already exceeded the 2008 record of $8.76 billion by almost 25%.
It's a big factor year to year in whether we would be able to continue, into the next year. It's just very high cost, and it's very, very high risk. And compared to other industries, we're probably higher than most in the U.S. and probably in the world.
Barns like this one in Central Texas are filling up with thousands of bales of hay after farmers and ranchers have cut and baled all they can. Cattle prices are still high, and worries of another drought on the horizon are still there. That makes this stuff as good as gold.
Hay farmers in Central Texas are seeing a big change from last year's miserable crop. This year, fields are averaging 3 bales of coastal hay per acre in most areas in the central portion of the state. That's good news to farmers like Jimmy Yashka, who grow hay and cattle in Clemson County. He's through baling his own hay, but does custom harvesting for others in the area and has rolled hundreds of bales this year.
This time last year we were parked because there just wasn't anything there.
His equipment is getting plenty of use this year, but he's concerned about what summer months have in store. His most recent bales are good quality and are weighing somewhere between 1,200 and 1,500 pounds. What concerns hay farmers and cattle ranchers most are the signs pointing to another dry summer. La Niña weather patterns and shallow soil moisture are constant reminders of a year Texas farmers and ranchers are trying hard to forget.
We caught some rains back earlier in the spring, and the winter grass grew. If we don't catch another rain pretty quick, this might be it.
In East Texas, Jeff Croft and his family operation cut their cattle herd heavily because of last year's drought, coupled with hay shortages and the high prices that followed.
It was a very hard year. We culled real deep, bought some hay out of it was rice straw out of northern Arkansas. It was a get-by.
Barns and storage sheds of all kinds are filling up in anticipation of another dry spell.
I gotta save it. That or look at possibly selling all the cows later on.
I'm sure not selling any this year until I make sure I get enough for me.
2011 is still fresh on farmers' minds, and the thought of losing cattle and importing hay is driving them to conserve all they can.
Last summer, one of these round bales, if you had it, it was worth $125, $150. Even into the winter.
The USDA calculates that hay prices are down slightly after recent rainfall and warmer weather. While early rain showers and mild winter conditions allowed for above-average growth in Central and South Texas, other parts of the state continue to suffer. With a long summer ahead, cattlemen and hay farmers are doing what they do best.
Just hope for a better year.
Look at the babies.
A heavy burden hangs over farming and ranching families across the nation. After the break, we'll show you how the death tax is affecting one Texas family.
Decades ago, Americans started leaving the farm for other professions and pursuits. The farmers that stayed fed America and much of the world. Today we grow more food than ever, and it's better, safer, and healthier. We live in the land of plenty, thanks to modern agricultural technology and the skills of our farm and ranch families. This message is brought to you by the Texas Farm Bureau, the voice of Texas agriculture. Today's abundance of food and fiber is brought to you by America's farmers and ranchers.
Are you a Texan? Are you a farmer or a rancher? Is Texas agriculture important to you? Do you care about the future of rural Texas? Perhaps you're concerned about property rights, stewardship of the land, and the next generation of farm and ranch families. If any of this describes your thinking, then you belong in the Texas Farm Bureau. Make your voice heard in the organization that is the voice of Texas agriculture. Call your County Farm Bureau office or visit us on the web at www.txfb.org.
The death of a loved one is hard enough to bear on its own. Add in a heavy estate tax or death tax, and it could mean selling the farm and a way of life. Ed Wolf has the story from Livingston, Texas.
The dream of passing down the family farm to the next generation is one many Texas farmers and ranchers share. When the time comes, they just want to be able to leave their life's work in good hands. For now they can, but soon that could change. About 75 miles north of Houston in Livingston, Texas, Patricia Snook knows the burden that estate taxes bring.
In 1998, my dad passed away, and we had to pay an awful amount of inheritance tax in order to keep the farm. And it was something that had been instilled in me my whole life, that you pass it down as much as you can to your family.
Her grandfather purchased the property in 1917 and later passed the land to her father and uncle. She is the fourth-generation landowner, and her family has paid estate taxes with each passing generation. With the tragic death of her husband, Jay, last year, the family is now preparing for another round of payments.
When my dad passed away, we had to pay an inheritance tax. When my uncle passed away, and we know that's coming.
Now her son-in-law, Mac Ross, and daughter, Wendy, manage the cow-calf and timber operation with the help of their two children, Cody and Taylor. Like any parent, they want to leave what they are building to their kids, but the ever-changing tax laws have them concerned they may have to sell property or cattle to pay for the large tax sums.
It has a lot of history, and I just want to keep it. I want to pass it down to my kids, generation to generation.
Both kids help on the ranch and want to be involved in a bigger way in the future.
We've been able to support it for almost 100 years. It's a lot better than sitting in a desk or in an office cubicle. It's really fun.
But the estate tax could make it hard for the youngsters to live their dream of returning to the farm. With rising input costs and increasing capital demands, Cody and his sister and cousins may never get the chance to continue their ancestors' way of life. Under current law, there is a $5 million individual exemption at a 35% tax rate. But those breaks are set to expire at the end of the year. It will then revert to a $1 million exemption at a 55% rate. That's troubling to this ranch family, who says lawmakers just don't realize what it takes to keep a ranch going.
The $1 million, it adds up quickly. You know, when you own your own land, and these cattle, like cattle prices now are up there. You know, I bought some heifers the other day for $1,500 a piece. You know, that adds up pretty quick. And then you got a tractor sitting there, it's $80,000. And land is now running probably, you buy a big tract of land, you're gonna pay $2,000, maybe $3,000 an acre for that. So that number is small.
Selling land could be profitable in the short term, but the Ross family knows it will probably not be used to grow food again. Once it's gone, it's gone. And for them and other farmers and ranchers, it's not an option they want to consider.
You don't want to sell your property. You don't want to sell your land. And when you're looking at a big farm and ranch operation, that's what you have. It's not liquid assets that people think that you have. And so when you start having to sell to pay for this death tax, then you're actually selling the property that you've inherited over many years.
Legislation is in the works now to repeal the death tax, as it's been dubbed. U.S. Representative Kevin Brady from Texas has sponsored H.R. 1259 calling for total repeal. But Brady says it's still an uphill battle to get a vote on the floor before the end of the year. The estate tax weighs heavy on the Ross family as they look to the future. Still grieving over a sudden loss, they know changes have to be made to tax laws so this land can be preserved for generations to come.
Yeah, I wish he was here to help us. Yeah, that's nothing we can get back, but keeping this land is something we can do, and we got to be able to change that. Where does it stop? I mean, at what point do you have to go, hey, that's enough?
For Voices of Agriculture, Ed Wolf, Livingston.
They're an odd sight in a small pasture near Valley Mills, Texas. As a matter of fact, you may be shocked when you pass the Baum family farm, but these strange residents seem to take a liking to the Texas weather.
Cars traveling north of Valley Mills often slow down when they pass the Baum family farm, but it's not to get a closer look at crops or cattle. They rubberneck to see one of the several camels that call the place home. Doug Baum and his wife Trish, along with daughters Vanessa and Delaney and son Pecos, raise camels and operate the Texas Camel Corps. Doug and his family travel the state and nation presenting educational demonstrations to school children, fairs, living history events, conferences, and expositions. Baum, a self-proclaimed city boy, was first exposed to camels while working part-time in a zoo in Nashville.
I was interested in working with elephants. I thought, well, that'd be fun, but that wasn't an option. We didn't have that opportunity. And when he brought the camels in, I thought, well, it'd be the next best thing. And I fell in love with it immediately.
It took only a short time before Baum was fascinated and back in Texas raising his own camels. Now he conducts programs across the state and offers a living, breathing testament to a short-lived time in the U.S. Army when camels were used for pack animals in desert territories.
This is a quirky bit of Texana, and I get incredible pleasure from sharing that story because very few people know it.
Surrounded by pastures of grazing cattle, these camels stick out in central Texas, yet they don't seem to mind as they have all the comforts of home and they get plenty of travel. Baum's camels are more like pets than beasts of burden, and they've seen miles and miles of Texas since 1995. Each year, BAUM leads tour groups in Egypt. They see traditional tourist landmarks like the pyramids and the Great Sphinx, but he also offers his guests a more authentic view of Arabian and Egyptian culture. The camel is in some ways representative of the Middle Eastern culture, but only as the horse is to Texas.
I know plenty of people in Houston or Dallas or Austin who don't own horses, perhaps have never even ridden a horse. And that same allegory is true if you go across the Middle East.
His 12-year-old son Pecos rides shotgun on some of the excursions and is learning the trade quickly. He has a knack for showmanship.
I've always wanted to run my own show and have like a zoo of crazy animals. Yeah, that's how camels say hello.
Animal care is a big job for these 2,500-pound animals, and he takes it seriously.
It's actually ideal for the camels and me because if I don't, I'm going to get yelled at, and the camels can't live like a month without water, but they can go a pretty long time.
Like many Texas farms and ranch operations, the Texas Camel Corps is a genuine family affair. BAUM not only shares his love of camel history and lore with his children, but puts animal health highest on the priority list.
You know, I think if you were standing here in a field talking to a traditional stockman, somebody with cattle or sheep or goats, I think they'd answer the question the same way. This is my livelihood. It is in my best interest to take the best care that I can of my animals.
Like cattle ranchers last year, BAUM struggled through the drought, but unlike cattle ranchers, he was unable to sell off stock, leaving him with no option but to buy high-priced hay. He's thankful this year is shaping up to be a better one, and he has plans to breed 4 of his females soon. As far as future plans to leave the camel business to his children, he said that decision is up to them.
If the kids are smart, they'll run the other direction. You know, it's their dream. If they want to take this over, that's great. The animals will always be a part of the family.
Stay tuned. Voices of Agriculture will be right back.
America's modern food production system is the envy of the world.
Yet farm and ranch families who produce the food and fiber for America are under attack.
By many who want to tear down this modern marvel and start all over.
Who will tell agriculture's story?
I will. My name is Chase Vineyard from the Stephenville 4-H, and I am Texas proud of Texas agriculture.
Texas Proud of Texas Agriculture is an exciting joint effort of youth organizations with proven leadership.
Our goal is to promote trust and encourage understanding of an industry essential
for maintaining food security for millions of Americans.
Will you volunteer?
I will. My name is Mason Parrish. I belong to the Caney Creek FFA chapter and the Texas FFA Association. I am Texas Proud of Texas Agriculture.
Texas Proud Youth will tell positive stories of agriculture.
We will talk about what we do and why we do it.
We will speak of the challenges facing farmers and ranchers.
We will connect consumers with the food they eat.
Will you join us?
I will. My name is Dakota Fleming. I'm a Bell County Farm Bureau member, and I am Texas Proud of Texas Agriculture.
Our generation will blaze new trails in dispelling the myths about Texas agriculture.
And telling the truth about the rural way of life we love.
Are you up to the challenge?
We are.
We are Texas Proud
of Texas Agriculture.
It's a grassroots voice in Austin and Washington for farmers and ranchers like me.
It's educational and scholarship opportunities for young people like me.
It's money-saving benefits for member families
like us.
What is Texas Farm Bureau? I am.
I am.
I am.
That's all for this edition of Voices of Agriculture. We hope you've enjoyed your visit to the Lone Star State. Until next time, for all of us at Texas Farm Bureau, thanks for watching.